Tuesday, everybody. Don't I have a treat for all of you guys today? I know I haven't been available online, but because I've been working on my own crazy stuff, but I am with an amazing friend today that is literally changing the world. She is a physician, rock star. She has literally taken on something that us physicians have no idea how to address. And this is something that we were even taught to not even touch with a 10-foot pole.
This is
because
true.
why, as a physician, we specifically as a family physician, my husband has to see 110 patients a week for our paycheck not to go half. And so in those 10, 15 minutes, we can't open up the, box of trauma. And so therefore, we don't touch it. We don't talk about it. We don't know how to address it. And that, unfortunately, is leading to the crisis that we are dealing with today. Because currently, 70% of the United States adults have experienced a traumatic event in their lifetime. And we know as family physicians that this trauma has not just, it's just something that happened on the surface level. It actually goes deep, so deep. That's why we don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. But it affects our biology. It affects everything to our physical, mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual. And this is why I am so thankful for this book. And this is why I needed to get on here, because this book is going to change lives. And as a family physician, I was dealing with lupus and Hashimoto's and digestive issues and acne and eczema and seborrheic dermatitis and all of these chronic health conditions. And nobody thought to address the trauma. Nobody thought. And once I dealt, that was the one single thing that I probably did that has helped the most, was to get there. So thank you, Dr. Apigian, for being here today. Dr. Aimie, I am so incredibly thankful to have you as a friend, and thank you for writing this book. Tell us all about your journey and why you want to share this message.
Well, first of all, thank you for the work that you do. You're showing up as the holistic mom MD, and wow, look at what your, can I say the V word?
Yeah.
Look at what your vagina has created.
I know all these boys. Yeah, that are trying to do the work, but because
that are also out changing the world.
Yes, because kids are suffering.
Yes, they are.
All of these kids that are dealing with traumatic episodes today, it is mind-blowing. And again, we're not addressing it. So thank you so much for this book.
So let's really talk about then, like, when we're talking about trauma, what's really going on underneath the surface, because it has less to do with the event as what happens inside of us. And what happens inside of us is our natural response when we feel all alone in something overwhelming. And as we look back at our life, when have we felt those times? When have we gone through something that at the time, with the resources and the information and the maturity that we had at that time, was overwhelming to us, and we had no one there to be in it with us? And how many of our kids are in that place today?
Especially now, it's even worse, because
now it's even worse.
They're stuck on their devices in their rooms, and things are happening, and they're more social than ever, than more isolated and more alone than ever.
And this is it. We can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. And that is the essence of trauma. So the trauma response is a decision that our autonomic nervous system makes. It's not a decision that our brain, cognitive, logical brain makes. Our logical brain would never say, let me just surrender and shut down to survive this. No, it was always going to choose the fight or flight. But there's this emergency brake that our autonomic nervous system has. And if we were a car, if we start to spin out of control, our car is going to engage the emergency brake. It is not the time to engage the gas pedal. That's our sympathetic nervous system. That's what our logical brain will reach for. And so there's this back kind of mechanism that can be engaged for when things feel so out of control that I just need to make everything stop. And that's what the trauma response is. It makes everything stop. There's 3 survival mechanisms that trauma response employs. One of them is I cover this in chapter 9 for those who will be reading. Chapter 9 is where you want to go now. Chapter 9, the 5 Ds of the trauma patterns that we can use to recognize, is my body still holding trauma today? Trauma is not just in the past. It has become our present. Those survival mechanisms include dissociation. We disconnect, Mediha. We disconnect. Our reality is so uncomfortable that we feel we need to disconnect from our reality. And maybe we can think of a time when we were in a situation. Some of the more obvious ones are if it's an accident, if it's a natural disaster, if it's sexual abuse, if it's neglect. The situation, our reality is so uncomfortable that we prefer to disengage. And so we can be there physically, but we've gone somewhere else mentally. We've checked out. We've zoned out. We're in our own bubble. There's so many words that we have to describe this thing that is actually the trauma response. Another survival mechanism is immobilization. So we know about the freeze response. When we freeze, that is not stress. That is a level of terror that our body has pulled on the emergency brake that says, stop everything. Here's the key phrase. It is dangerous to be alive right now.
Wow.
And so we freeze, because when we freeze, we might not be seen if we're still. If we're not breathing barely, then we might not be heard. If our metabolism dims down, we might not be sensed by whatever monster would be able to sense our temperature. It's very physiologically based, but there is a clear difference between stress and a trauma response in the body. And that's what we need to be looking at, because that has the long-term consequences on our biology.
And we're seeing this, like this is these long-term consequences. I took my 2-year-old to the library the other day, and we like right next to the bathrooms of multiple different libraries, because he now likes to hop from one library to another. But I'm
He
seeing
must be your son.
Yeah. But there was, like, he was playing with these boxes. I'm like, what are you playing with? Narcan boxes. Like that were just like, so now we're dispensing Narcan. If for people that don't know, Narcan is a drug that can help to reverse the opioid, problem. Like if somebody is dealing with an overdose of opioids, you can immediately take this. But then the thing is, instead of the government trying to address the underlying root cause of this, right? And tell us, like, does the addiction crisis and trauma have something to like in common?
I see that all addiction and all chronic health is driven by a nervous system in survival and fear. That's it, survival and fear. And it creates a flood. And we can be downstream and trying to clean up the mess. But until we go upstream to the source of the flood, we will continue to just be busy and focusing on this and then this and then this and then this, rather than being able to go and say, how do we actually create a biology of safety?
Absolutely.
How do we create a biology of safety that will stop the flood?
That's so key, because that flood is leading to all of these chronic health conditions, all of these problems, not even just in us, in our kids.
In our kids.
Teenagers
are being diagnosed with autoimmunity.
Yes.
That never used to be the case when we were even going through medical school.
No, never.
Really shifting.
Absolutely. And what about the mental health crisis that we're dealing with today? Cyberbullying, with all the trauma of what's going on in the world around us, and having access to that 24 hours, 7 days a week of all the things that are going on in the world in your back pocket. And then the cyberbullying that came. My son, he just spoke at Mindshare at the summit, and that was really what jolted him, because he got this death threat that was vulgar and like right out of a video game. And it really scared him. It was really traumatizing for him every day of his life until that person left. But still, that trauma is affecting our kids at a level that we cannot, even as parents, if we try to keep them protected, it's very difficult, because now they have this entire world in their back pockets.
Well, it's like trying to avoid toxins these days.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You can't avoid the exposure.
No.
So we need to know what to do after we've been exposed.
Absolutely. And what that looks like to even be exposed. Like how that affects your body. I think right now, again, us as family physicians, we do not know how to address this, nor would we address this with our patients. Like, oh, it's probably the trauma. No, it's probably, what we do is we go and say, oh, it's an SSRI deficiency. No, it's not. Or it's like, other problem, insomnia issues. Oh, it's just this medication. No, yes, fine. Acute medicine is great for that immediate problem, but this long-term, it's not a solution for it. And just by I watched myself, once I dealt with what was going on underneath, was when my body started to feel better. My ANAs completely resolved, which is anti-nuclear antibodies, which is elevated for lupus and other autoimmune conditions. But I had been doing all the other functional medicine stuff, right? I was eating well. I was, exercising, stress managing the best I possibly knew, but my body was not. And I'm like, why does not my ANA come down? Like, I'm doing all the things, but not until I realized, oh my gosh, my body's still reacting to what happened years ago. I'm like 44 years old. My body's reacting to something that happened like in my teens.
And that's what I want people to understand, right? Like, because you and I see them when they come in as adults. And so it's so far separate from what happened before that they're not connecting the dots. And as you started out by saying, the medical providers don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. No, they would rather you keep the lid on that box, please.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to open that box, because we don't know what happens if we open that box.
Which honestly is not just physicians. This is people, right? And for good reason, because those feelings were overwhelming at one time in our life. Mm-hmm. They were. And so for us to think about opening Pandora's box, it creates fear. And we're like, no, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to keep living life the way I am now and hope that it will go away. Hope that time will heal. Mm-mm. It doesn't, right? Like, this, it doesn't, it becomes elevated ANA titers.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Or trying to numb that feeling that we've had from the trauma with either opioids or different other types of addictions that we, start to go down that trail, because we're like, we don't want to try to numb these feelings.
I became an addiction medicine physician so that I could more deeply understand trauma and the body. Mm-hmm. And here's what I saw that then I related to other chronic health and mental health conditions. Mm-hmm. When I detoxed someone off of their substance and I didn't do the trauma work, guess what would happen once they got sober? They'd develop another addiction. It would be to coffee, to sugar, it was inevitable. And in fact, it's everywhere. And this is what I also see with the chronic health. If we are able to address the digestive issues through functional medicine, and we haven't addressed the underlying nervous system dysregulation that's driving it, it will pop up somewhere else. It will pop up as skin issues or anxiety or insomnia or the autoimmunity. It will, because it is going to need to go somewhere. And so even for people with anxiety or depression, sure, you can take the SSRI, not going to tell you to not. It might help stabilize you, which maybe is a good thing. And if we don't address the underlying biology of trauma, it will pop up somewhere else. You're not done just because you've been able to find a solution for that one problem.
Absolutely. And this is where, again, please, everybody, pick up this book. It is a must read. She goes through everything in a lot of detail, and it's like doable. It is things that we can do today, one, to understand what's going on, to figure out if we truly are dealing with, trauma, and are we dealing with this, and what to do about it. And so this is where it needs to be in every household, because I think this, as I've been doing this for so long, again, trauma is something that we don't really want to discuss within our families, right? Amongst our kids. It's not like it's like, oh, let's everybody sit down around the table and talk about our traumas, right? It's not something, but the thing is, this is happening worldwide. We need to start having these conversations. And this is why this book is a game changer in this world, where I'm hoping that this is going to prevent so many chronic health conditions, suicide. September is Suicide Awareness Month, right? So we got to, there's so much that we need to educate everybody around us to know that there's hope. That is not just you. This is your imbalanced nervous system because of something that happened. And once we address it, the world will start to change for us.
One nervous system at a time.
One nervous system at a time. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Aimie. This is a must get. You guys, everybody, get this today. It's on Amazon. The link is in the description. And please, once you get it, please review, 5-star review it on Amazon. The more reviews she gets, the more it just continues to be pushed out there. Because again, this is one thing that no one is even talking about a lot. Even though you're a functional medicine practitioner, doesn't talk about this as much, right? And this is an absolute necessary. Please get this book today. Leave a review and share it with your friends and family. Where else can they get this book, Dr. Aimie?
They can find some resources on biologyoftrauma.com /book. Have some resources that go with the book for people.
Absolutely. And you have courses. Correct?
I do. I have Biology of Trauma courses. I have Biology of Trauma podcast. I'm sharing my 5-day nervous system reset for those who want to come to the website and put in their order information and get that reset. I'm sharing it for free today.
Wow, you guys, that's amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Go check that out today. Thank you so much, Dr. Aimie. The world is so lucky to have you in it. I'm so blessed.
Right back at you.
I'll talk to you later. Go get this book, everybody.